Hello, I am Angela B. Chrysler, and we'll be reading The Journey of the Marked by author and copyright holder Rebecca P. McCray, who has approved this reading. Kenria kicked the wall in frustration, then turned and punched it with the side of her fist. Aerith had insisted her chances of reaching the training camp were greater if she stayed within the others marked ones. Well, she agreed in the case of arrows. She snarled at the thought of having to protect the silly Lilliput boy and tolerate the glamorous Christic. What was so special about Christics anyway? Granted, the girl stood out, but given their current situation, that wasn't exactly a benefit, was it? Kenria squatted on her heels with her lower back to the wall, resting her chin on her knees. Once they found a medic for the boy, they would lose the others. Assuming Arrows chose to stay with the group, she would find her way alone. She closed her eyes to rest a moment. As usual, whenever she was tired, memories she had pushed away crept back into her thoughts. "Stupid child!" he yelled at her. Then he slapped her face with such force she fell against the wall, hitting her head on the stone surface. "I told you not to speak to me while I was fixing the wagon!" he growled. "Now go! Get the rest last from the house, and we be quick about it." She pushed herself up from the wall, wiping the dirt from her clothes, despite the fact that they were already filthy and torn. With one hand she brushed the long, dark, tangled hair out of her face. Then, wrapping her stick-like arms around herself, pressing them against her rumbly belly, she walked cautiously to the rickety door of the one-room shack she called home. Once inside, she gathered up the few remaining trinkets that had belonged to her parents. She fingered the small red gem she kept hidden inside a little wooden box. The man knew about the box, but not the gem. She found a crevice in the wall and pushed the gem inside. She thought about trying to hide one or two others, but he would catch her, and the punishment would be severe. Carrying the remaining items outside, she watched while he carefully added them to the bundle in the wagon, the items he intended to sell. Then he turned toward her with a sneer. He grabbed her arm tightly. Marks would be left. Be gone for a few days. He shook her as if that would help her to understand. "You will not leave this house. If I so much as hear that you wandered off, you'll be sorry." He grabbed her around the throat with his hand and spoke with soft menace. "Do you hear me, girl?" She nodded, and he pushed away into a pile of rocks. When she looked down, her knee was bleeding. She knew better than to cry. "Serves you right, you pathetic brat," he sneered. He pulled himself into the wagon and urged the beast onward. She watched his cart move away, knowing he had left no food or water in the house. She would have to leave in darkness to find something to eat. The neighbors loved nothing more than to tell him when she disobeyed. Still, for a little while, she would have peace. Kenria leaned her head back against the underground wall. That was the last time she had seen the man. One of the neighbors had caught her sneaking food from the baker's shop, and most certainly would have told him. She had fled to the city the same night. She released the clasp on a pocket hidden inside her vest and removed the small red gem. She turned it over in her fingers, finding comfort in the familiar stone. Many times over the years she had tried to remember her parents. All she remembered was the man. He never allowed her to call him by name, and never once showed her any kindness. Not for the first time, Kenra felt lost and alone. She had so many questions she needed to be answered, and knew no one she could ask.